This video is a tutorial on how to use Fitch, a computer program that we'll be using a lot in this class. Let's take a look at it. To navigate to Fitch, you'll want to go to the Language Proof and Logic folder, double-click, and then come to Fitch right here, and double-click, and that'll open up the program. Alright, so let's get a sense of Fitch. Here we see we have a step that's above this black line. This black line is called the Fitch bar. Everything that is above it will be a premise. It's what we get to accept to be true. It's the evidence that is being offered for a particular conclusion. So in constructing our own problem or exercise for doing a logical derivation, we might have as one of our premises the grass is green and it is snowing outside. And for a second premise, we might have that if it is snowing outside, then it is cold outside. And perhaps the exercise or problem that we want to do is show that it is cold outside follows from our premises. That if we're given these 2 bits of information as evidence, then we know that it is cold outside will be true as well. So to show that, we have to construct steps after these premises. To do that, we hit Control A, or you can come up to this proof drop down and come here where it says add step after, which again is Control A. You can add steps before using Control B as well. You can delete steps using Control D. Okay. I know from premise 1 that if it's true that both the grass is green and it's snowing outside, then I'll know that it is in fact snowing outside. What we'll learn throughout the course is there's going to be various rules in Fitch that we can use given certain patterns that we see in our premises or the information that we've already know is guaranteed to us. So in this case, the rule that we're going to want to use is one that corresponds to the conjunction. This little box here to the right actually describes what the rule says, and that tells us that if we see a conjunction, then we can infer any of its conjuncts. So notice that we have the orange arrow on this third step. By clicking this, it highlights it, and what that tells me is that I'm citing premise 1 as why it is okay for me to infer S by this particular rule. If this seems like it's going too fast, don't worry about that. We're going to cover the rules in more detail and how they work. I just want you to see where they're located and how to successfully apply them in the program. We can check to see that we've done the step correctly by using this verify button. And by getting that green mark, it shows us that we are in fact using that step correctly. Notice that if it is true that we have S, which step 3 tells us that we do, and it's true that if S then C, that is S guarantees C is true, then hopefully our system has a rule that allows us to move from the fact that 2 is true and 3 is true, that 4 is true. That 4 has got to be true in light of 2 and 3. We do, in fact, have such a rule. But first, I'm going to cite it incorrectly. So let's say I try using the conjunction rule again. and I cite 2 and 3. When I verify it in this case, I get an X telling me that I've done something wrong. In this particular case, what I've done wrong is I've cited the wrong rule. The rule that I want in this case is conditional elimination. As you can see in the box to the right, it tells us whenever we see the pattern if P then Q P, we can infer Q. Now we see that we have made that inference correctly. We can also now check to see whether we've done the problem or the exercise in general correctly. Were we able to show the goal that if premise 1 and 2 are true, it's got to be the case that C is true. To check that, we can use this button. And now we see that we have done it correctly, that we have succeeded in inferring or deriving correctly, deriving our goal. If I had left this incorrectly, as using the wrong rule, then we'll see that it comes out as an X. So let's look at some other features of Fitch. We can delete our steps here by hitting Control D, and whatever the orange marker is selected on will be deleted. So Control D deletes all the lines except for the last one, which you have to hit backspace in order to delete those. And we need to come down and delete the goal. Alright, instead of typing in the capital letters, we see that we have our predicates here. And we can switch these to other sorts of symbols and predicates that we have available to, or that are available to us. And here we have our names. So these buttons can be used to assert various things, such as A is to the left of B. And we can see that, of course, if A is to the left of B, B must be to the right of A. And we do have a mechanism that allows us to make that inference on the basis of the meanings of the words left of and right of. So while I'm highlighted, or while my orange marker is pointing at step 2, I can highlight step 1 as saying that's why I get to know that 2 is true. 2 is true because of 1 being true. We see that that's a good inference. Alright, so we have our logical connectives here that we can use, as well as the universal quantifiers, identity signs, variables, and parentheses. The last thing I really want to show you is how to open up exercise files from Fitch. So we come to File, Open. We have to navigate to the exercise files. They'll be under the language proof and logic in the folder that says Fitch exercise files. You can see that there's all these various exercises that are available to us. You can just say, for instance, click on this one, 2.27, and this particular problem opens up for us. That's the basics of Fitch. Thanks for watching.